Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. So last episode we did a psychological profile of Anakin Skywalker. Today we're going to continue with that theme and look at what drove him to the dark side. Most Star Wars historians agree that one of the major reasons Anakin Skywalker went to the dark side was because he wanted to save his pregnant wife Padme from dying. While that might be the most noble reason why he turns to the dark side, there are other underlying reasons, like his lust for power, his belief in an authoritarian state, and of course, his jealousy. It all starts during one of Anakin's Force visions of Padme's death.
Save your energy.
Wait, who is that? Yes, that's the Jedi with the most swag in the entire order. Is this what begins to seed jealousy in Anakin's mind? I mean, how would you feel if suddenly Obi Wan Kenobi appeared in your dreams of your pregnant wife dying? Confused? Worried? Or emasculated? Suspicious? And of course, jealous. Anakin's suspicions grew as he realized Obi Wan Kenobi had been visiting Padme behind his back.
Obi-Wan's been here, hasn't he?
It also didn't help that he had just been replaced by his old master to lead an important mission by the Jedi Council. When Anakin finally turns to the dark side, he really has one last opportunity for redemption. This comes in the form of the two people who care about him the most. The problem is, they came together, and that's what really sets Anakin off.
I love you!
Liar!
No!
You're with him!
With the dark side coursing through his bloodstream like crystal meth, Anakin jumped to the immediate conclusion that his worst fears were true. According to several sources, including Hayden Christensen and George Lucas's biographer, Anakin's jealousy of Obi Wan Kenobi was once a central plot point in the prequels. And like we said before, it's a lot more noble for Anakin to go to the dark side to save his wife, rather than go to the dark side because he suspects Padme isn't being faithful to him. But there are still several signs of this forgotten storyline in the movies. They're like burning telephone poles that have been disconnected from the main grid. When Anakin and Padme learned that Obi Wan Kenobi had been kidnapped on Geonosis, Anakin's reaction is a little bit strange.
Geonosis is less than a parsec away.
If he's still alive.
After Anakin confides in Yoda about his Force visions, the little green lump of a Jedi Master's warning is very clear.
Attachment leads to jealousy.
But that leads to the more important question, was Padme secretly with Obi-Wan behind Anakin's back? Everyone knows that Obi Wan Kenobi is a ladies' man. Just look at his passionate lack of a relationship with Satine Kryze.
I've loved you from the moment you came to my aid all those years ago.
I don't believe this.
Satine, this is hardly the time or place for... All right. Had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order.
And in Legends, there was the stunning Siri Tachi, who unfortunately died and almost drove Obi-Wan to the dark side. Even Ventress can't help but constantly trade terrible one-liners with Obi-Wan while they're trying to kill each other.
I'm all yours, Obi-Wan.
Which is honestly the best sign a relationship is actually working. If you've stopped trying to kill each other, that means you've stopped caring. To his credit, Obi Wan Kenobi does try to fight his emotional attachments, but it's really not fair because the ladies just love him. Before the Battle of Geonosis, when Obi Wan Kenobi is captured, it's not Anakin who comes to Obi-Wan's rescue, it's Padme who initiates the mission.
Well, you heard Master Windu. He gave me strict orders to stay here.
He gave you strict orders to protect me. And I'm going to help Obi-Wan.
There's obviously a history between these two, since they first met during the Naboo Crisis. Now let's take a look at Anakin. There's a few different ways you can approach a woman. One is being charming, witty, and suave, like Obi-Wan. Then there's another type. These guys are much more forceful and aggressive, and they end up scaring the girl into loving them. It's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome. These kind of relationships almost never end well.
Please don't look at me like that.
I mean, if you think about it, they really aren't a great match for one another.
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
One, there's the age gap. Padme is 5 years older than Anakin. In itself, it really doesn't matter, but they knew each other when Padme was 14 and Anakin was only 9, which is kind of weird. And then let's examine Padme's worldviews. She's all about planetary rights, limited government spending, and democracy. She thinks diplomacy is the way forward. She's basically a libertarian. Anakin wants a strong central government, more military spending, and he hates the Senate, and he also doesn't understand what diplomacy means. Anakin is an authoritarian. Liberals and conservatives can get along, believe it or not. Sometimes they make the best couples. But an authoritarian and a libertarian, forget about it.
The trouble is that people don't always agree.
Well, then they should be made to.
By whom? Who's gonna make them?
I don't know. Someone.
You?
Of course not me.
But someone.
Someone wise.
Sounds an awful lot like a dictatorship to me.
Well, if it works.
And let's not forget, they professed their undying love for each other right before they were about to enter an arena where they were going to be executed. Now, I've only been in that situation once or twice in my life, but I can tell you, it's a terrible time to make relationship decisions. I mean, you're just really desperate. Padme is desperate. It doesn't really matter who was in the chariot next to her, she probably would have been all over him. Once Anakin stopped saving Padme from giant monsters, molten metal, and assassins. Wait, did Obi Wan Kenobi just jump out the window? I guess he really likes Padme. Anyway, once all the excitement stops and Anakin and Padme stop going on crazy adventures, we begin to see cracks in their relationship and just how creepy and awkward Anakin is, and how incompatible they are. I mean, besides saving her life several times, what other moves did Anakin have?
The closer I get to you, the worse it gets. The thought of not being with you. I can't breathe.
This means the Force vision has a double meaning for Anakin. Not only is it foretelling the future, it's presenting Anakin with another opportunity to save Padme and save their failing relationship. Because again, these conversations about sand, well, they aren't going to get any less awkward. Which makes me think, imagine if Anakin never chokeslammed Padme and they had stayed together. He would have to hire a bounty hunter like every other month to kill Padme, just so he could save her again and rekindle their relationship. And Anakin is starting to sense this. He's starting to lose confidence in himself. And self-confidence is one of the major determining factors of how jealous a person can get. And clearly, it's not just Obi-Wan he's jealous of. Let's not forget how Anakin felt about Senator Clovis.
No.
Okay, technically Clovis let go in order to redeem himself, but you're telling me one of the most powerful Jedi in the Order who could do stuff like this couldn't lift two human beings up from a ledge? Nah. But in the end, we just don't know what Obi-Wan was doing in between episode 1 and 2. Wait, what if there is a new Obi-Wan movie? And it's about Obi-Wan getting it on with Padme? Because then that would mean Luke and Leia. The Outer Rim sieges and Vader never sensed Leia, and I got a crazy theory. I gotta get out of here, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on the rest of this theory. And Patreon supporters, you get to see it early, so don't forget to check the site out. Thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.